What do you do when there's somebody who really needs to be pulled along and they're not really getting it, and they need to be improved, but maybe they need to be redirected?
Yeah, I was thinking about this whole thing, and my wife and I, we've been married 20 years, and I was talking to one of these guys about marriage. I think it was, I don't remember, but about what a great invention that you commit to this person, and they're about to love you enough to tell you the things that probably other people see too, but in an environment where it's intimate enough that they're not going anywhere. And if I tend to go in my former life to kind of run from that and go, well, I don't want to hear that I'm not a good listener. But when my wife tells me that, I can't, what good is it to defend myself? No, I'm not. That doesn't help anybody. So I was thinking about marriage, and then in this team church thing, it's almost like what a beautiful thing that we have an opportunity to love each other by just being open and honest and fostering a trust environment where we could actually help each other grow into sanctification or the body. And so many times instead of doing that, we say, I'd rather tell so-and-so that she's bothering me. And or I'd rather tell all the other people that when they try to lead us, the energy goes out of the room, and that's not their gifting. Instead of asking, if I'm feeling something that somebody's doing to me that's hurting or it's causing this thing to be less effective, loving that person by going and just having the conversation and saying, building them up first, making the deposits, but then helping them grow in that area. Because all of us, I'm going to have warts till the day I die. We all are. And we look out for each other's backside, and we can see things that other people see, but maybe we can't. And I just think if we could dream of a culture like that where we're bettering each other by being for each other, and when you come with a critique, it's a love thing,
That's great. I like it if you can anticipate that, like if on the receiving end, no one wants to hear the criticisms, but sometimes if you feel like maybe your worship leader isn't happy with the way you just played something, if I can approach them first and say, hey, is there something about that doesn't feel right, or do you want to change something? If you can start the conversation, it's way less harsh, and it gives them an opportunity to tell you, yeah, something about the intro didn't feel right, or something about the way, whatever the example is. But if you can initiate, give your leader or the person you're working with, even a bandmate, an opportunity to tell you that maybe there's something you could work on, that's a little easier to receive than if they just have to break the ice first and go, hey, man, I've been meaning to talk to you about your guitar tone or whatever it is. If you can kind of be the first one to go, hey, can you maybe help me? Am I missing something? Or, just be.
I think it's nice, too, not to save your compliments just for when you have, a negative. If it's well, Jeff's giving me a compliment, it's here it comes. That compliment really only means so much, but if you're constantly, always, even if there's no negative feedback to be given, looking for positive things to say about people and encourage them, I think that's a great thing,
That's great. So if we're taking notes, I think a great first step is in building a bridge, it starts with you. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. If you can be the one to initiate the bridge building, that's a huge thing. I know these guys are always great with me in terms of our concert context. Matt will always ask, man, how are those tracks hitting you? Daniel will say, man, is there anything I need to change? Travis and I have had great conversations over the years about how are the drums working and what needs to change. And so, you had a specific example about just that in terms of how we do that. You want to kind of share?
Yeah, it's cool. My position being something that I talked about yesterday with the drums. you have kind of a loud instrument, something that has a lot of power, and it's not like you can just turn the volume down on it when somebody says, hey, can you like turn the volume down on your guitar or your bass? So a lot of times I'll reach out to Jeff and say, I might have set this instrument up in a way that I think, you know, it speaks well, but I'll always want to reach out to Jeff and say, because he has a musical ear, and say, hey, how does this fit in the mix? And Jeff have gotten to where I'm very open with Jeff saying, hey, actually, tuning, let's adjust some tuning things, or hey, back off the cymbals a little bit because, you know, the stage is a little more shallow than we're used to, so it's bleeding. And so he kind of helps me craft how I need to approach my instrument for this environment. But I'm also seeking that out. Originally, I wouldn't have done that because I don't want somebody telling me what I need to do and how to tune my drums and all that kind of stuff. But there's a trust there. And when I can trust that Jeff is not trying to like put himself above me, or I'm not trying to put myself above Jeff by using these little tactics, it's simply two people doing two different jobs that need to work together. And I can say, I trust what Jeff has got to say, so I want to hear his opinion.
Yeah, and I think part of that goes back to what we've been saying the whole time about having a common vision and a common bullseye on the target, and using whatever we need to do relationally to move toward that together. A specific example about drums. So just from a technical standpoint, there was one time we were rehearsing for a big event, and you know, we were going to do, it was kind of the first time we were doing, maybe it was the world edition of How Great. And so it was in a different key than what we'd normally done it over the years, and had some more parts and stuff. And so we were kind of rehearsing it for the first time as a team. And that arrangement happens to be in D flat. And so there's this, you know, it's a new key for everybody. We got to figure out how to do that. Well, the drums on that particular day, you know, Travis is playing along, and the snare drum had this ring, and it was like, man, something's just rubbing. Well, the tone that drum was ringing was D, in a song that's in D flat. And we're all just kind of like, something's not quite right out in the PA. So I was like, you know, that ding, 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 and the song's here, and the snare drum's here. And it's like, okay, what's going on? So a little piece of moon gel on the snare head tightens up the drum a little bit, the ring goes away, and all of a sudden the drums are just magic.
Absolutely. Little bits and things that, you know, help you work towards a common goal, I think is really important. And in the church situation, a lot of times you come, Sunday is maybe your chance to, you know, kind of be in front of people and play music and all that kind of stuff. But it's good to learn to get over that. This is like me time to do my thing, and look at it as you're one piece of a whole unit that needs to work together.